Just in, baby dolls, BSC News have done an article about Pulse Chain, Richard Hart, and pDaI. This is BSC News, friends. We have it here. Richard Hart and the claims of a hidden stablecoin operation. Very interesting. Now, what's most interesting from these, because it could be a plant, is Liberty Swap Finance from Pulse Chain, who we love and adore. Lady Liberty has been replying under the thread saying, whoa, my mind is blown. pDaI is going to $1. Very interesting. We're going to go through. I'm just going to give you the juice straight away. This is Lady Liberty's responses. So we are going to go through the thread, but I just want to give you the bang straight away so you can see this. Get to the juice. Wow, mind blown. BSC News just dropped a deep dive on pDaI and Pulse Chain, and it's nowhere in my usual playbook. Massive thanks. And then shouting out the person. Look at this. Here we have Crypto Solve. So this is, friends, if you're watching out from the sidelines, this is a pile heap of garbage. Smells nice, though. One man's garbage is another man's treasure, they say sometimes. pDaI has only about 5% consensus in Pulse Chain. That's why I nicknamed it the cult within a cult. So cult, not as in occult, as in Jeffrey Epstein eating babies, but cult as in culture. That's what we do in crypto. You know, we morph words, we play around with them. It's culture, okay? So this is obviously the pDaI logo. So look, at the end of the day, whether the prophecy is true or not, forget it. Okay, forget it. I mean, Terra Luna UST, without being backed at all, went to 7 cents at the end of 2023. So that is still from here. That's a whopping 54x return, okay? I just drew a squiggly line. It went to 0 twice, could go 0 for a third time. You go do whatever the hell you want with that. I don't care. I'm just telling you, like, junk with actual do quant involvement has actually ticked up higher. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you the thread continuation here. You see, that's why, friends, Crypto Solve is in within Pulse Chain community. Does a lot of on-chain stuff. pDaI has only 5% consensus. So, you know, 95% of the chain hates it. They don't like it. People crying, which is, you know, we've been here before. Like, you know, everybody in the world hates Hex. Didn't stop that from going up last cycle. Okay. So look at this. Paid content on a website with 1.3 million followers on their X account. An account that gets far less engagement than your own despite 100 extra followers. Sounds legit. So as you can see, friends, there's always a confirmation bias where they go, okay, I think this is a scam. I don't like it. I'm always not going to like it. Therefore, everything you see is just always going to be fade, 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 fade. This is what happens everywhere. Look, think could go to 0 for the third time, but I'm just giving you an idea, friends. This is how most investors, that's why markets move the way they do. It's because we always have an idea, because your brain, right, we make ideas in our head of how we think models and the world works. So then stuff that's outside of it, you're always palming off. You know, it's a defense mechanism. You know, like for example, friends, you know you can't actually fly. Okay, you can't actually fly. So you know if you see, let's say you watch a video of someone actually flying off a building, your brain automatically goes, that's AI. That's not real. Yeah, because your brain's like, no, you can't fly. It's impossible. You get it? So that's our defense mechanism going like, I know what's real and what's not. I've got my own grip of reality. But markets are interesting. We have price charts, and price charts are all about expectations and positioning. That's why the secret to markets is positioning. That's why when no one's positioned for something to be possible and then there are signs that it is possible, that's how you get these big parabolic moves up. And also when things are up, that's how they go down as well, when everybody's positioned long. So Liberty Swap replies to Crypto Solve. BSC News dominated as the primary news source for BSC from 2020 onwards. That's Binance. Okay. However, their follower base from that era has largely become inactive following a prolonged bear market. Without adaptation and consistent follower acquisition, our account risks facing similar engagement decline. So that's another way of saying December 2024 was Trump euphoria victory, and we've seen a decline in numbers ever since. And that's like their explanation. So it's basically, you got to understand that this is the funny part. You got to read between the lines while I play some PUBG music. Notice how it's funny. Lady Liberty had nothing to say about whether pDaI is legit or not. It's just saying, hey, I'm trying to help you with your news source here. You like, they just have declining stuff from the previous bear market. Doesn't mean they're not credible. See, they're trying to like throw you bones and just no one's listening. But I get it, bro. I totally get it. I get it, dude. That's all markets, man. You know what I mean? Like, look, you're only going to believe anything Lady Liberty is saying and rewatch my videos if you see pDaI at like 1 cent. Then they're like, oh my gosh, I better get some just in case. You know, that's what happens in markets. You know, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to 250K, that's 5 trillion market cap. People might say, oh my gosh, I better rotate some gold just in case Bitcoin flips gold one day. You know, it's similar principles. So now let's continue. This is BSC. This is the actual thread. Stable coins were sold as neutral digital cash. Today, most look more like programmable bank deposits. This deep dive examines pDaI Pulse Chain and why the claims of a hidden stablecoin refuse to fade. Let's get serious for a second, friends. Let's get the nipple pegs out, okay? Why would anything do this, okay? Why would anyone do this? If it was legit, which I hope it is. Obviously, I hope it is. I'm long. Like, you want crypto to be legit, right? This is what you would do because there's product market fit. You know you have product market fit, but you want to like educate everyone and keep them up to speed with why this would have product market fit if it turned out true. That's what you want. You want everyone to see, hey, we have stable coins, but not all stable coins are the same. They're not the same. Tether and USDC have an admin function. They can block you instantly, and they do use the block button all the time. They've blocked $1 billion doonies. Justin Sun got World Liberty Finance blocked. That's like $80 million wiped. You see that? Justin Sun, friends, remember as well, he's got Tether all over his chain. Tether are a glowy company. If they wanted to disable him in 2 seconds, they could. If Tether and USDC want to crash Ethereum in 2 seconds, they just go disable all these stable coins and all the pools. What are you going to do now? You see, it would literally enter a Great Depression for it because you'd have to like unwind everybody. Everyone takes their losses. Everybody in the ecosystem has now lost money. You have to wait for those people to save up money in the next 4 or 5 years just to re-add back to Ethereum. And maybe they don't want to touch it again. Do you see what I mean? That's how Tether and USDC have all the power. Plus, you know, sprinkling some fun here. Jeffrey Epstein invested in Tether and he invested in Circle. They're pedophile coins. Which we're going to have fun with that later on, aren't we? Let's go check out the article, friends. Now, you might see some advertisements on the side. Maybe I've been looking up some naughty adult material on the thing. Sometimes they show you like, you know, advertisements. They're like, would you like to buy more fluffy slippers, sir? You know? And they've got other things as well. Check it out. An investigative look at Richard Hart, pDaI, and the on-chain claims. The stablecoin trust problem. Well, isn't it funny? Because I haven't even read the article. The first thing they talk about is not all stablecoins are the same. Isn't that wild? I guessed for you, hey, if you're dressing this up, the first thing you do is not all stablecoins are the same. Across much of the crypto industry, confidence in stablecoins is quietly eroded. Nearly every major stablecoin operates with a blacklist and a freeze function, allowing issuers and bodies to restrict addresses under regulatory or political pressure. I can't believe the very first paragraph they mention is exactly what I guessed. That's the forefront of teaching product market fit to everybody out there. Okay? Nipples are still pegged, by the way. Okay, so Richard Hart's reputation in the current cycle. Okay, so they speak about the perception here with the system formerly known as pDaI, and now it's rebounded on the sky. So I've got to remind everybody as well. pDaI came from MakerDAO. MakerDAO no longer exists. They renamed it to Soynet. So it's Skynet. They renamed it to Sky. And the reason why they did that is they no longer want it fully decentralized. They want the market cap of pDaI. It's no longer pDaI. It's USDS. S for soy. They want it. It was about 6 to 12 billion. They wanted 100 billion plus. To do that, they have to get Wall Street money. Wall Street control everything, and they go, we'll only do it for you if you give us the admin function. So they made it centralized. There is an admin blacklist function in the code for USDS. But what they've done is in a very sneaky way. It's not enabled yet. But the voters of MakerDAO can vote it in. They will vote it in. It's not, you know what I mean, friends? You know what I mean. Okay, it's like you build a house and you build a man cave at the back. You know what I mean? And you tell your wife, no, I'm never going to have the boys over. No. The boys are never coming over. I just built a man cave to look at. Like, she knows you're having the boys over. You know what I mean? tasty tubes, getting the twisties out, get the lolly snakes. You see what I mean? You know what's coming. Exactly. Well, they didn't build a man cave. They built a blacklist function into the code. pDaI doesn't have a blacklist function like that. They can vote to implement something. And by the way, friends, so I've heard some hints. I don't know if it's true. I've heard some hints. Let's just say I'm seeing shadow people and I'm hearing shadow people, okay? One of the reasons why Richard Hart bought Ethereum, and what I'm about to tell you is true, just I don't know the reason, okay? You know MakerDAO, the biggest holders, they were actually having private meetings about whether to vote a consensus and disable the pDaI in Richard Hart's account, which is our Pulse Chain Sacrifice treasury. They were actually having a vote. Should we do it? Let's do it. I don't know if it was yes or no. They were just having a vote. So it could be he didn't want to risk it. He's like, throw it in ETH, because that's what North Korea does. North Korea, when they steal everyone's money, they either go to BTC or ETH. You can't stop them. They're actually like really sovereign, you know? And they can also use Monero, but Monero's got less liquidity, okay? Richard Hart's reputation in the current cycle. There are large segments of the crypto community. Richard Hart became a polarizing figure, okay? Richard Hart, known as the founder of Hex, and they had a $50 billion market cap. They talk about achievements and Pulse Chain and PulseX. So it feels like this is a nice self-fellatio fluff piece. Obviously, it's what we want to see, because who do you think's riding it? Why pDaI refuses to disappear? Okay, I'll tell you one reason. Ha! How about that? Huh? How about that reason? That's why it's not going away. Okay. Now for the non-serious part, okay? pDaI is Pulse Chain's fork of the original MakerDAO stablecoin system, launched in 2023 before pDaI transitioned into Sky, okay? So they literally transitioned, took some hormone blockers, now they are Sky, otherwise known as USDS, S for soy. pDaI is widely regarded as broken, suffered from an inherent vulnerability, exploit-driven inflation, governance paralysis, and persistent liquidity issues, okay? If you go back to Bitcoin articles 15 years ago, they would say Bitcoin's broken, can't be currency, it's too volatile, no one knows what the hell is going on, can't even use it for this, can't even use it for that. So just to remind you, when you're early to stuff, it's always broken, all right? But that does not guarantee everything works out. By conventional metrics, pDaI should have disappeared from serious discussion. It did not. I wonder why, okay? I wonder why. It's it's super hot viral stuff. Okay, I remember I told you it's a unicorn, all right? Because we've never seen it before. You've never seen a stable coin start from zero and have a journey of becoming a $1 ping pong stablecoin currency peg. We've never seen that, even if it's possible. Okay, it's risky. You've never seen that before. Okay, just like Bitcoin, you've never seen that before. Ethereum, you've never seen a smart contract platform before. Okay, so if you look for unicorns, on average, you're looking for the right stuff. Not all of them work out. There are things that just don't work out. But if you just look for stuff you haven't seen before, like I said, it's double tip. Supporters argue that pDaI's significance lies not in its mechanics, but its position. Unlike issuer-managed stablecoins, it exists outside formal blacklist frameworks, making a focal point in debates about whether issueless stablecoins can still exist. As I've got more material coming for you, Vitalik himself is bullish on pDaI. The concept, pDaI, it's an algorithmic stablecoin. Okay, it's not backed by US dollars in a bank account. Okay, that's the concept of it. It would just be backed by crypto. There's no middlemen here. It's just by the code. All right. Repeatedly describe pDaI as exploited, broken, and unfit for use. This is Richard Hart. So Richard Hart describes it. He rejects it. He goes, "Blah!" It's pretty much what he says. Here is Nikolai, who is, rest in peace, who was literally assassinated by Mossad. This is his final tweet. Coconut Intelligence Agency and Mossad and the pedophile elite are running some kind of child lollipop ring entrapment blackmail out of Puerto Rico. So when he made this in 2022, I was covering it. I go 100% this is true. Everyone was coming out saying, conspiracy! Okay, now we have Jeffrey Epstein. You have literally every single major politician in the world going there, going out, eating children, doing every single disgusting, demonic stuff out here. Conspiracy super cycle, right? Friends, we got to get the referee. Please stop the match. Stop the match. Just throw in the towel. Throw in the towel. Conspiracy nut jobs who see shadow people like me, we're on 140 on the scoreboard. Blue-pilled cucks are on 0. And that's why, friends, I'll wake up every day. I'm begging Bridget Macaron, please don't have a willy. Please don't have a willy. Just send me a selfie of your snatch. I want to see it. Okay? Make sure you spread it as well. I just want to make sure you're not hiding anything. I want to see it. If you show me you don't have a willy, Bridget, show me. Get the mouth swab, take it to the lab. It takes like 4 hours. You've had 6 months. Why won't you just do a little swab, Bridget? Swab it. Okay? Swab. Show me your genitals, Bridget. I need to see. We're 140 to 0 now. I want 1 point on the board for the blue pill cucks. Are there any conspiracies left, by the way, that aren't true? I'm trying to figure that out. If it's a conspiracy super cycle, by the way, pDaI's in that camp. They are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-girlfriend who was a spy. They will torture me to death. Jeffrey Epstein was all over Bitcoin. He invited Adam Back to the island. Adam Back is missing in 2014 from April 16th to April 20th. Those 3 days, he caught a helicopter. He went to Jeffrey Epstein's island. He probably played Twister with some kids. He refuses to talk about it. He's in the emails. He's in there. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein all over there. Okay, pedophilia coins everywhere. He was in Tether. He's in Circle. He's literally all over the place. He's got Fortnite corrupted. They are literally everywhere. Are you surprised that the guy who literally founded a coin on the internet that could algorithmically match a US dollar, are you surprised the power of that? You're backed by crypto now. You don't need money in a JP Morgan bank account. Are you surprised that it turns out his girlfriend was a spy the whole time? You're not surprised. Not at this point. 4 years ago, you would have been surprised. Friends, we've got like 40,000 children a year missing. Dude, the Coconut Intelligence Agency, they can literally hear me on the dunny every single time I go plop, plop, plop. You're telling me 40,000 kids just randomly go missing, unaccounted for? The conspiracy and the on-chain claims. The conspiracy surrounding pDaI is largely driven by on-chain interpretation rather than official statements. Otherwise known as don't stop believing. Speculation is reinforced by on-chain observations frequently cited within the community. Analysts point to extreme supply concentration. Basically means believers have a lot of the coins. Another commonly cited data point is evidence suggesting pDaI-related contract interactions and liquidity occurred before Pulse Chain was officially launched. How do they explain that one? They can't. It broke my heart a little bit, but not really, but it did a bit. I don't want to mention, I don't want to throw anyone in, I don't want to throw their names down dirt through the mud, you know, even though they throw my name dirt through the mud, but you know, I do it to myself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't care if people don't take me seriously. So it broke my heart how I've been saying this for a year and a half. I go, Habibi, do you know Pulse Chain was launched May 13th, 2023. 2 days before Pulse Chain launched, pDaI was minted. What's your explanation? Now, I'd said that so much, friends, because I've got a lot of value content. I can't be bothered for every 6 months people forget, so I've got a link for you, the old stuff. But it came to a point when pDaI was like, 7 months ago, very low. There were people that was watching streams on YouTube. And it was funny. They just like FUD the crap out of it. FUD the crap out of me. FUD. And like one voice would come out. They go, hey, didn't Somi like make this claim that pDaI was like minted? Something happened with pDaI like 2 days before Pulse Chain launched. And instead of going to Twitter, finding out my tweet, everyone just said, nah, it's a bullshit artist. It didn't happen. I think within the as soon as I saw that, I think I had some orange juice. I went to my PC here, sat in the squeaky chair, found the transaction, and I just posted it. I just, because I've seen this before, dude. Nothing convinces people. That's why you don't bother. I don't have to convince you, bro. Like, hey, your missus is cheating on you. Okay, guess what? I was guy number 700 in the Bonnie Blue line. Okay. But it's the Bonnie Blue's boyfriend. I think she's cheating on you. I'm just letting you know. You know what I mean? They'll still never believe it. They won't believe it. They need to hear it from her. They need to hear it from her. But you are my favorite. That's another way of saying people love buying tops and they love selling bottoms, okay? So if this thing went higher, everything I'm saying starts to make sense. If it goes lower, everyone thinks it's a scam. Pretty much the same thing with every asset, okay? So yes, friends, pDaI was minted 2 days before launch, May 11th. So what's the implication? The implication is somebody who's involved with pDaI had access before the freaking chain was able to be connected by the public. That's why I created this fun fictional character, the Vietnamese kid. All right, because the implication is 2 days before launch, Richard Hart was chatting to some Vietnamese kid, not knowing it's a kid, thinking it's a girl, asking for feet pics. And then the Vietnamese girl sends feetpics.exe and he double clicks it and he gets a virus. And then this Vietnamese kid, whilst having the chance to steal billions of dollars, decides to mint pDaI on chain and create a cult within a cult community that runs for over 2.5 years in his spare time. You know what I mean? He's got Gunbound to play. He's got the new Ragnarok to play. He hasn't played Final Fantasy VII Remake. You think he's got all these games to play? He decides to create a cult within a cult on a chain that nobody else in crypto cares about because it's so small. You see what I mean? But guess what? Guess what? According to the price, 95% of the Pulse chain community believe that. What's your excuse? See, the real excuse, friends. The real excuse. If you look at Eric Wall, he'll say, no, Richard is actually just dumb. That's like the Occam's razor approach. They go, no, he's actually just dumber than you think. He just got things wrong. I don't care. My nipples are still pegged, all right? A key element involves a so-called Viet Dong extractor. Wallets accused of exploiting pDaI's liquidity. See that? Supporters describe these links as conclusive. Critics dispute the attribution, and Hart has categorically denied any ownership. Yep. Denials and an unresolved question. Hart has consistently denied involvement with pDaI's past, present, or future. There is no confirming evidence. Whether pDaI is a failed experiment, a warning about stablecoin centralization, or something intentionally left unfinished remains unsolved. Those words were chosen carefully. It's an unsolved mystery. It's a conspiracy supercycle. Are you getting the point now? XRP, literally, nobody uses it. It hit 200 billion market cap. The conspiracy still continues 10 years later. This is a price chart. You know, friends, what's the most common question you get in pDaI? How's the peg going to happen? Who's going to come and put the money? I don't know, bro. I don't know. And you know, when you say that, people get more enraged. Because, look, friends, I get it. It's tough, dude. But you have to accept it. You live in a world of uncertain outcomes. You don't know. You've never known. You didn't know Bitcoin was at $3 was going to be 300 and then 3,000 and then 30,000. You did not know that. You never knew that. You didn't know Vitalik was just going to rug you for some Hello Kitty memes for $80,000 in Ethereum and just leave. You didn't know that. You have absolutely no idea, okay? It's always been uncertain. There's always been fear of the unknown. So, we've been here before, right? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying, like, there's never been a scenario where you come in and someone's told you the answer. And even when there was, you wouldn't believe them. Mr. Big Banana, good article. You gained a follow. See? pDaI. Friends, here he's literally Mr. Reptile Hybrid. He literally has been telling the world about reptilian lizards. And friends, every single person, this is what I've noticed. This is really weird. Not even really weird. It makes sense. Every person who's like red-pilled, they really know how the world works. Like they knew about Jeffrey Epstein's like tip of the iceberg, you know? All of them, as soon as they see pDaI, it's like, this coin's for me. I get it straight away. This thing's encoded with something. They can feel it. I don't know what. They can feel it. And they don't even hesitate. They don't think twice. They go, oh, yeah, I can see that. See, friends, you got to understand. A lot of people say to me, I go through, we've been talking about this stuff for literally, it's been like 1.5 years now, you know? If you're involved, why don't you just tell everybody? Why not just tell everybody? Okay, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why right now, okay? It's because of this chart, okay? This is Hex. This is why you don't tell everybody, okay? Hex went so far down. From your perspective, you're like, oh, but business cycle, but this, but that. Yeah, that's our perspective. Think about it from the perspective of a founder like Richard who inserted maybe hundreds of millions of dollars into it. What did the community do? Maybe he doesn't like how they reacted. Maybe he does not like how some people are betraying the community, making their own coins, dumping, rugging, leaving, sniffing around in Solana, rugging the community, sacrifices out here. Maybe he doesn't like that. Maybe he's literally seeing people go like, you know what? Yes, Sommy's got some amazing peg nipples, but I've never seen him peg his bum cheeks. So maybe there's some stuff he can work on. But like, bro, who are you? You guys raised like millions and millions and millions of dollars of sacrifices. What are you doing? Is this really nothing? You know, maybe he's looking at that. Maybe he's looking at that. He goes, this makes no sense. Why are you opening your mouths? Go back to building, you know? So you might think, okay, what's the conclusion from that? Well, the conclusion is the next time you may or may not be involved in a coin, maybe the people you recruit into the community, maybe the way you talk is different. Maybe you don't promise people they're going to get rich anymore. Maybe you don't show people the price chart every 2 seconds. Maybe you don't tell them that. Maybe you change it up. Maybe you don't get people who need to be told what to do every step of the way. Maybe he learned. He's like, well, look at the people I've spoken to. Like, they need instructions every 5 seconds, right? Maybe I want people a bit more independent. People who, they don't just throw stuff out straight away. People who don't get told everything's going to be fine. Yeah. It's funny, the community, everyone in the Pulse Chain community, they beg Richard, just tell us it's going to be fine. Tell, please smooth me over. They can't handle navigating the uncertainty. They can't. But he might look at it, he goes, well, I shouldn't be surprised because I was holding everybody's hand every step of the way. And now when there's this gap period when I can't hold their hand, they lose their minds if I'm not tweeting every 15 minutes. Friends, if you go join the pDaI Telegram, I do all this stuff, friends. I do this. That's why I do the research. Go in the pDaI Telegram. No one even cares. We're here, we believe, that's it. When peg. That's what they talk about. When peg. You know? They're not talking about, please tell us it's going to be okay. Please tell us, please do stream. They're like, yeah, it'll be nice. It's nice candy. But it's just a different type of personality, friends. You know, it is what it is. Just like how Satoshi left Bitcoin, it actually made it stronger, not weaker. He was no longer holding everybody's hand. He goes, it's up to the community now. So this is the pDaI chart. If there anything, so when people ask me, let's say this does work out in the future. Well, I'll always point to this. I go, dude, it's encoded. It's 555,555x to $1 from the exact bottom to the tick. Okay? That's all. You know, Mr. Reptile Hybrid, shout out to him. He said when he saw that, he literally just went in. He didn't even think. I'll never forget that comment. It's funny. Richard, streaming, business cycle, ISM, Bitcoin, bear market, Tom Lee, Michael Saylor. Don't care, dude. Don't care. He goes, if this is encoded 555,555x to $1, I'm in. See what I mean? It's a different personality type. It's a different person. It diversifies the community. You see? It's different. See, you and I, friends, I never would have thought of this. I've never ran a coin before. I don't own a coin. I've never made a coin. Okay? We don't run communities with we're not like CEOs of companies trying to manage cities and towns or big major Elon Musk level Tesla robot factories, okay? But the people who do, this is the type of stuff they think about. They just don't come and talk to you and me about it because they're managing you and me with their words. You know, Elon Musk doesn't go on Twitter and say, guys, there's this guy in the 3rd level. He stinks, but he's really good. But the girls are complaining. Should I move him to the corner or should I get him another job or should I just buy him deodorant? You know, he doesn't air that stuff out on Twitter because Twitter's his customer base for you know what I mean? He's got no one to talk to. So you never hear him having that discussion. Just like Richard doesn't come out and he goes, okay, guys, should I tell you about pDaI or shouldn't I tell you about pDaI? He can't have that convo with you. There's no convo. You get it? So that's why expectations, you can start to figure this out. It's pretty much on track. And that's why ultimately I like Liberty Swap replying. Wow, mind is blown. I like this article. My conclusion is still the same. Don't stop believing. The world does need a natively decentralized stablecoin. It does. It needs an alternative without an admin key function. Okay, it does. By the way, it's funny. This is the crypto paradox, I call it. The paradox of exiting crypto. All of you, you know, 9 out of 10 questions is, Somi, how do I leave this place? How do I cash out? I forgot. Like you think you're going to wake up one day, you've teleported to being a trillionaire and you just bridge out. And I say, I tell you how, but then I go, look, here's the paradox. By the time the fundamentals of crypto are so high that the price has to match it and you're rich enough, by the time that point comes, you won't want to leave. Because there's no reason to. Because you have everything here. You have a stablecoin card, you load your money in there, you go spend. What else? What do you need a bank account for? You can pay all your bills from your debit card and you're earning yield and you get cash back. And it's crypto to crypto straight away. And it's international. And they don't ask you questions. And by the way, in Europe, you can't like withdraw more than 1,000 euros from an ATM per month or something. See what I mean? The rules are only going to get worse and worse and worse. You see, that's the crypto paradox, friends. The crypto paradox is everybody's on this island dreaming about how they leave. But the truth is, by the time you have the opportunity to, you don't want to. Okay? Don't forget he loves you. All of this is complete speculation. And yes, my nipples are remaining pegged. Like, subscribe, belly button all. Catch you soon.